And let's get started.
The more we get together, the more we get together, happy. Cause your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. The more we get together, the happier we'll be.
It's 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and many are heading to their doors and windows to bang pots and applaud. We know how much depends each day on the risks taken by workers who tend to our health and well-being, deliver our food and other purchases, and tend to all the details of living that continue to be essential. For those who cannot be with us, those loved ones we have lost, and everyone risking their life to do a job that has to be done, paid or unpaid, this moment is for you. Thank you for all that you do.
Welcome. You are here in my house. And this is the first time I've been able to do this wonderful annual Ms. Foundation for Women benefit from the intimacy of my home. And it is always a one-of-a-kind celebration. And this year is really one of a kind because it's a block party to roar, and I hope you're all going to roar, for women. So wherever you are watching on Facebook Live or YouTube or wherever, your phones, tablets, computers, wherever, tonight you are not only making history, you are making a statement, because tonight is a reminder that even during these historically dark times, each and every one of us is not isolated. We are connected. We are connected by our hearts, by our minds, by what we care about. And right now, in this instant, in this time, we are truly connected. We come together to celebrate because we have 4 incredible women of vision and impact. Their work has had enormous, changeful, for the good impact on communities and on this whole nation. And you will hear about them and you will learn from them. Each of the women being honored tonight has not only worked before for all the welfare of all women, but has continued to work during the current pandemic to ensure that women and girls of color and their communities have the resources and the assistance that they need. Right now, we know that everyone has been impacted by COVID-19 outbreaks across this country, but no communities have been more impacted than communities of color, particularly Black and Indigenous communities, and particularly women in those communities. That's why it's important that the Ms. Foundation for Women continues the work of supporting these women and the community organizations that are fighting to make the change that we all need. Whether it's pay equity or maternal health or safety at home or on the streets, one measure by which we can evaluate the success of our movement is the lived experience of those who are most challenged by the threats we are fighting. Our collective power as women is only maximized when total freedom and full equity are experienced by women and girls of color, and we at the Ms. Foundation will not stop fighting until we are all free. Until we are all free, no one is free. And that has always been our mantra. So tonight, wherever you are, wherever I'm reaching you right now, let's roar for all women and show our love and our support.
In the early 1980s, I had no voice and was in New York and got a call from the Ms. Foundation to join the board. Gloria helped me find a voice. And she says we should be linked, not ranked, and I agree.
joining us tonight. Tonight is about more than just the women participating, more than the women who are being honored. This evening is about each of us, including you watching at home. You see, we believe that we are greater together, and to reach a feminist future, we all have to be there. So I ask you to take a moment to send a text, an email, a tweet, call a feminist friend or anyone you love in your life, and ask them to watch with you tonight. Right now, thousands of women are watching around the world. Mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, and partners joining together to celebrate not just the women being honored, but to celebrate themselves and who they are. As the nation continues to social distance and self-quarantine, tens of thousands of women are on the front lines. Doctors, nurses, postal workers, grocery store workers, and community organizers are joining and fighting every single day for their communities, themselves, their families, and their lives. They not only need but deserve our support. Well, I know not everyone has the ability right now to give monetarily. I want to encourage those who can donate tonight to donate. And for those of you who are thinking, how can my donation make any difference? I am excited to say that tonight your donation has double the impact. Tonight, an incredible woman and longtime supporter of the Ms. Foundation, Janet Prindle-Seidler, a pioneer woman on Wall Street, has stepped up to match your donation dollar for dollar up to $50,000. Combined with Janet's generosity, another funder has put up an additional $50,000 for this challenge, meaning the first $100,000 we raise tonight will automatically be doubled to $200,000. You can donate right now by clicking the donate button on our website, live.forwomen.org, or by texting Ms. 2020 to 76278 on your phone. And while you do that, I want to take a moment to say a very special thank you to our sponsors this evening, to the Ms. Foundation Board of Directors, to our donors, and to our very talented and committed staff at the Ms. Foundation. Now's the time that we need more than ever to celebrate. So join me tonight as we roar for women.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to see all of you here for the Ms. Foundation #Roar for Women Feminist Block Party. The Ms. Foundation has been such a force for good in our country, ensuring that women and girls of color are supported and that we are lifting up the voices of grassroots leaders in the fight for justice and for equity. During this unprecedented time, when there are so many unknowns and there's devastation throughout our communities, it is vitally important that we recognize those who are on the front lines for their work, making sure that women and girls are safe, healthy, and thriving. The honorees tonight are some of my personal heroes, and I can't wait to celebrate their important work. And I can't wait to have some fun with the DJs and the speakers, but I want to say to you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all you do, for your dedication to gender equity. Thank you to the Ms. Foundation and to the fabulous Teresa Younger for continuing to showcase and resource women across this country, particularly women and girls of color who are leading this important fight.
Adhikar for me is what movement spaces and social justice should look and feel like. There's often in organizing two forms of power. There's money that moves things, and there's people that moves things. People power is the actual main form of power. That's what we've unleashed. Adhikar is a worker center and a community center that is based in Woodside, Queens. We work with the most vulnerable folks in our community. We don't just serve them, but we organize them, and we build power in community and family, and then are able to create really large structural change by working within the community and in coalition.
I have been working here since 2007. For me, Adhikar is so important because this is the home away from home.
We intentionally created a space where we had women on the board, women as staff, that we are really thinking about this in terms of a feminist approach. The power's always been with the women. It's helping them kind of unleash it.
Pabitra is such a visionary. She puts women first, and she centers those who bring perspectives that have not been heard, that have not been taken into account in policies, and allows those women to shine with their leadership.
She really takes the time to guide people that are new and up and coming. The lessons that she's taken on in the decades of work of organizing that she's done are shared. People like myself, I've learned so much about how to do the work that we do just by seeing how she does her work and leading by example.
ACT and Adhikar have been working together pretty consistently over the last 4 years, which is really when the fight for temporary protected status has heated up. The same kinds of work that we're doing in African immigrant communities, Adhikar is leading in Nepali communities.
I came into Adhikar when we were just over 10 years old, and we were at a place where we had just won huge victories in the nail salon movement here in New York in 2015 and 2016. We were the driving force behind the nail salon reforms that were happening at the state level. It was really helpful and integral to work with the other partners of Ms. Foundation that are doing this work and to say, how do we do this better? With the Ms. Foundation work, we did a survey to help understand the childcare needs in our community. So folks that are having children here to folks that are bringing their children from wherever their home is, whether it's India or Nepal or other places, and really raising children here and helping them learn how to access their needs. I do this work, I think, because in whatever way, whether it was being queer or whether it was having a mom that worked 2 jobs at a restaurant, I saw the abuse that she faced as a worker. I saw her tips getting stolen. I saw the way that people treated her. All of it was very real for me in my life. A lot of our members remind me of my mother, and it's just beautiful to see this powerhouse of women at our organization. That power is awakened within them to be able to create the systematic change that they want to see.
Some of my sisters, they are really good manager because of Pabitra Didi. She's really nice. She, all the time she told us like, oh, you can do it.
She is very fearless leader. Her heart is so good.
Pabitra is someone who really brings all of herself into the work.
I think that we could just live in a different society. That world is only possible when we actively try to create that change.
I'm honored to be on this virtual stage with such amazing beings, Jessica, Monica, and Tokata. There are countless people that should be standing with us. To our thousands of members at Adhikar, immigrant workers in informal industries, mostly women, often left invisible, the real honor is in working side by side with you. The voices and lives of low-income immigrant API communities are often left out of movement discourse, but since 2005, you have stood tall with us and said, as my 2-year-old would say, no, 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 we are here, we will rise, and we can roar. As a worker and community center, we take a holistic approach to people's lives, from organizing to services and advocacy. Organizing in Queens, an epicenter of the pandemic in the US, the struggles of flattening the curve are not articles that we just read. The pandemic has intensified every inequity and imbalance in the system. Our staff and community are on hyperdrive, pushing our way into systems and creating new pathways to ensure access to everything from testing, quarantine facilities and care for those that are sick, unemployment benefits for those losing work, stimulus measure for immigrants, food, relief checks, safety pay for essential employees like domestic workers who are often overshadowed, and so much more. As we fight, we are also working with our communities to imagine the world we want to live in as new systems evolve. For over a decade, Adhikar has joined in coalition to win rights for workers and immigrants, including TPS holders. And every day, our workers fight for their rights, their lives, and to ensure all immigrant workers are included in relief and recovery. We hope that you'll join with us to fight for immigrant and communities of color left out of the stimulus measures, to call your senator today to make sure that they don't compromise on our lives, that we respect domestic workers and janitors and delivery people as much as healthcare professionals, and you donate to organizations like ours fighting for communities' lives. I want to thank the Ms. Foundation for their support in supporting our community, And I want to dedicate this award to my staff and our member leaders, the foundation of our organization. My family for their continued support, and especially my partner for holding our family down in this pandemic. She reminds me to center at the root and in the heart. Without our roots, we fall. Without our hearts, we're misguided. So today I stand with you, rooted in our ancestors and community, and centered in our hearts to roar until every person is liberated and our communities are free.
Hi, this is Tchen, President and CEO of Time's Up, and I can't think of a better thing to do right now than to be at a feminist block party. Thank you, Ms. Foundation, for supporting women and girls for so many years and for bringing us all together right now to support those who are most vulnerable, who are most in need during this time of pandemic. Thank you, Ms. Foundation, for your leadership, your courage, your support.
We are traveling through this wild land, always searching, all alone, dragging our load down that long road, and we're still so far from home. Ain't it hard to find a friend when you're out there wandering? It can get lonely, but we know we won't always be far from home. When the storms roll, casting shadows, we almost lose our way. But every dark dream fades to memory in the warm, sweet light of day. Ain't it hard to find a friend when you're out there wandering? It can get lonely, but we know we won't always be far from home. May get lonely, but we know we won't always be far from home.
Hello from Los Angeles, where my partner and I are quarantined and staying safe. And I pray that you and your loved ones are doing the same. It is an honor to work with an organization like the Ms. Foundation for Women. And I am thrilled to have joined the board of directors earlier this year. Since 1973, the Ms. Foundation for Women has worked tirelessly to build the collective power of women in the US and beyond, to advance equity and justice for all. To our founding mothers, Gloria, Marlo, Marie, Letty, and Patricia, we're just so encouraged to be able to continue your tireless work. And though we can't stand in community with each other, we know that these times are just extremely uncertain, that the Ms. Foundation for Women still continues to recognize and support the work of people striving for universal equality and equity. And as we look to the future, and as we roar for women, we want to encourage you to take this time to explore the current work and the history of this just incredible organization. And as we think about our collective futures together, what they can be, the Ms. Foundation for Women will be there. So we want to thank you all for all of the work that you do to continue to support the Ms. Foundation for Women. And we hope soon to see you all in person, where we can roar for women now, tomorrow, and forever.
The powerful work of our grantee partners is vital for all of our futures. And we all have a role to play, whether it's making masks like we're doing at Michael Stars, or supporting the Ms. Foundation's grantee partners. Congratulations to all the honorees.
They put their love into action to protect our families. We knew we had to do the same for them.
Hello, Ms. Foundation. For 47 years, Ms. Foundation has been on the front lines in the fight for equity and social justice. And for over 30 years, the Annual Gloria Awards have been a time of connection and community that we're really going to miss this year. Yeah, I wish we could be together to celebrate the bold, visionary leadership of women, especially women of color, during this time of crisis. But we know that's just not possible right now. Nevertheless, I am thrilled to join tonight's Feminist Block Party to sing and dance and to affirm the unshakable truth that joy is an act of resistance, even in a time of crisis. And make no mistake, this is a time of unprecedented crisis for our nation. The coronavirus is turning our world upside down, and our first priority must be to contain this health crisis. Across the country, governments are mobilizing to keep people safe. Doctors and nurses and frontline workers are coming together to care for the sick, and together we are making progress. Next, we need to take care of workers and their families, and that means protecting essential workers, workers who are more likely to be women and especially women of color, and who are risking their lives every day to keep life as we know it moving forward. It also means economic relief for the many families who are already struggling to make ends meet before the pandemic and who now find themselves facing unemployment, mounting bills, and no clear path forward. Our workers need paychecks. Our students need loan cancellation. Our seniors and those who are vulnerable need increases to Social Security and disability benefits. And that's just the beginning. As we put in place the tools to recover from this crisis, we need to make the big structural changes that will help us build back better. And yes, that means putting women and women-led organizations in positions of power to fight for a fairer, more equal, and more just America. At a time when marginalized communities are being disproportionately affected by COVID-19, we need to center and empower diverse voices. And here's why. Putting more women in positions of power leads to progress. If we're going to emerge from this crisis stronger, more resilient, and more just, we need to empower women, women of color, LGBTQ women, women with diverse backgrounds, because it gives us a better chance to make the right decisions. We have a long road ahead of us in this crisis, but here's what I know for sure. If we stand together, if we fight together, if we persist together, then we will see each other through to the other side. So stay safe out there and remember to dance.
Am I a feminist or a womanist? The student needs to know if I do men occasionally and primarily. Am I a lesbian? Tongue tied up in my cheek, I attempt to respond with some honesty. Well, this business of dykes and dykery, I tell her, is often messy. With social tensions as they are, you never quite know what you're getting. Girls who are only straight at night. Hardcore butches be sporting dresses between 9 and 6 during the day. Sometimes he is a she, trapped by the limitations of our imaginations. Primarily, I tell her, I am concerned about young women who are raped on college campuses, in bars, after poetry readings like this one, in cars, bruised lip and broken heart. You will forgive her if she doesn't come forward with the truth immediately. For when she does, it is she who will stand trial as damaged goods. Everyone will say she asked for it. Dressed as she was, she must have wanted it. The words will knock about in her head. Horny, bitch, slut, tease, harlot, loose woman. Some people cannot handle a woman on the loose. You know those women in silk ties and pinstripe shirts. Those women in blood red stiletto heels and short pink skirts. These women make New York City the most interesting place. And while we're on that subject of diversity, Asia is not one big race, and there is no such country called the islands. And no, I am not from there. There are 100 ways to slip between the cracks of our not so credible cultural assumptions about race and religion. Most people are surprised that my father is Chinese, like there's some kind of preconditioned look for the half Chinese lesbian poet who used to be Catholic but now believes in dreams. Let's keep it real, says the boy in the double X hooded sweatshirt. That blue-eyed, blonde hair Jesus in the Vatican ain't right. That was Jewish, not white. Christ was a Middle Eastern Rastaman who ate grapes in the company of prostitutes and drank wine more than he drank water. Born of the Spirit, the disciples loved him in the flesh. But the discourse is not on those of us who clearly identify as gay or lesbian or straight. The state needs us to be a clear left or right. Those in the middle get caught in a cross. We fire away at the other side, because if you're not for us, you must be against us. And when people get scared enough, they pick a team. But be it for Buddha or Krishna or for Christ, I believe God is that place between belief and what you name it. I believe holy is what you do when there is nothing between your actions and your truth. The truth is, I am afraid to draw black lines around me. I am not always pale in the middle. I come in too many flavors for one single spoon. Never one thing or the other. At night, I am everything I fear. Tears and sorrows, black windows and muffled screams. In the morning, I am all I ever wanted to be. Rain and laughter, bare footprints, invisible seams, always without breath, without definition. I claim every single dawn. For yesterday is simply what I was. And tomorrow, even that will be gone.
White and Case is proud to support the Ms. Foundation for Women.
We have learned that our commitment to diversity, championing civil rights and human dignity,
and amplifying the voices of women from all walks of life
makes us a stronger firm and leads to a better world for all.
Good evening. I'm sorry I can't be with you via video tonight. But as a former president of the Ms. Foundation for Women, I could not be more excited about joining you for the organization's very first all-digital event. It is my honor to recognize an emerging leader, a feminist who represents the next generation of activists, and an innovative leader who fights for gender equity every day, Monica Ramirez. Monica has dedicated her life to ensuring that all people are treated fairly and receive respect and dignity regardless of the color of their skin or immigrant status. and she has elevated and celebrated the richness and significance of Latinx culture. This longtime advocate is an award-winning activist, organizer, attorney, fighting to eliminate gender-based violence and promote gender equity. Monica created the first legal project in the United States specifically focused on addressing gender discrimination against farm worker women in 2003. And she would later expand the organization's work in 2006, founding Esperanza, the Immigrant Women's Legal Initiative of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Monica's legacy has had a wide reach, from founding Justice for Migrant Women in 2014 to a focus on the eradication of workplace sexual violence against migrant women workers, to her current work as the president of Justice for Migrant Women and the Gender Justice Campaign's director for National Domestic Workers Alliance. In addition, Monica has been credited with sparking the launch of Time's Up when she penned the Dear Sisters letter to women in the entertainment industry that was published in Time magazine in 2017. Congratulations to this year's Marie C. Wilson Emerging Leader, Monica Ramirez.
Thank you so much, Marie, for your incredible example, leadership, and for your very kind words. I'm honored and humbled to accept this award that is named after you. You are and always have been a trailblazer. Thank you for all that you continue to teach us. I would also like to congratulate all of the other recipients and thank you each for your leadership and dedication. Thank you to Teresa and everyone at the Ms. Foundation for this incredible honor. I'm humbled to receive it and I accept it on behalf of the farm worker and other migrant women workers on whose behalf I serve. More than half of the world's economic migrants are women, and a growing number of women are migrating across state and country borders in order to seek employment opportunities here in the United States. Nearly 1 million of these women are farm worker women. And as the daughter and granddaughter of migrant farm workers, I've dedicated my life's work to serving them, my community, to fight against widespread sexual harassment, wage theft, hazardous working conditions, and so many other issues. I've also worked to change the narrative about the farm worker community and migrant women, so that people across our country will see, hear, and celebrate them, their work, and their many contributions. For far too long, women working in lower paid jobs, like those who work in agriculture as caretakers and domestic workers, have been undervalued, despite the fact that they do the work that keeps our world turning. This devaluation has led to their mistreatment, dehumanization, and denial of respect, rights, and so much more. These are the very things that I and so many others have dedicated our life's work to curing by building power, creating new platforms, and organizing for change. I'm grateful to all of the inspiring, powerful women who in this moment continue to meet the moment that has been presented by the crisis that we're all living through. Farm worker women and many other women continue to go to work every day to feed us and provide other critical work to help do the jobs that we all rely on. They need rights, benefits, respect, and support. I call on each of us to commit to lifting these women up as essential every day and to work our hardest to ensure that they and their work are fully appreciated now and in the future. They are and always have been heroes among us.
Good evening. This is Susan Reed, Head of Diversity and Inclusion for Morgan Stanley. These are unprecedented times, so we're not able to celebrate together, but we're thrilled to support the Ms. Foundation and to congratulate all of the winners of the Gloria Award. Congratulations.
Respect our water, respect our land, and respect our people. Join us and sign our petition.
Tokata Iron Eyes was just 12 years old in 2016 when she made that 54-second video. A proud daughter of the Standing Rock Nation of South Dakota and North Dakota, she was among tens of thousands of indigenous people of the Sioux tribe there who insisted that their land and their lives were under siege. And this was a real threat construction had already begun on the 1,200-mile Dakota Access Pipeline, which was designed to cut through the very heart of Tokata's homeland and across the Missouri River, less than 1 mile from the Standing Rock Reservation. An oil spill, Tokata warned, would devastate her tribe's water, health, and land. Tokata's videos went viral and launched the Respect Our Water social media campaign, which drew thousands of environmentalists from across the globe to the plains of Standing Rock to join in this battle. Although the protest lasted nearly a year, the pipeline was eventually installed. But along the way, it built a movement. And Tokata, now 17 years old, remains at the forefront of this coalition. Like any popular teenager, Tokata has earned a passionate following. Her story has been immortalized in a Marvel comic book, and she is an enduring role model for girls of color. But her biggest fan is 17-year-old Greta Thunberg, the acclaimed Swedish climate activist. They became fast friends when they traveled through Tokata's homeland, speaking at rallies, where Tokata announced, "This crisis does not care about the imaginary political boundaries that we put up among each other. It is regular, everyday people like us who are going to make the difference." The founding mothers of the Ms. Foundation and the Free to Be Foundation, Pat Carbine, Letty Cotton Pokerman, Gloria Steinem, and myself, created the Peggy Tchen Award to honor young women who, like its namesake, lock their gaze on a mission of change and never back down. How fitting it is that this year's recipient locked her iron eyes on a crusade to protect her planet. It is such a privilege for me, on behalf of the Ms. Foundation and the Free to Be Foundation, to present this year's 2020 Free to Be Peggy Tchen Award to Tokata Iron Eyes.
I'm Hunkpapa and Oglala Lakota. I am indigenous to this land. There's this saying in my language. It says Midakuye Oyasi. It means we're all related. Everything that exists right now is a part of us. Because genetically, because on a chemical level, the particles that build up everything around us still built us up too. Being able to recognize that nature and the earth and the systems that it's already created are older than us. Being able to nourish our relationship with this autonomous being with its own life force. Being able to recognize that in the first place is going to be essential. It's a mindset switch that we all have to make if we want to be able to create actual change. All of us need clean water and air to breathe. So when we talk about these communities far away that are already being affected, so are you.
That's the work that we're doing every day, is trying to create this new world for ourselves where we feel safe enough to create dreams again.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy.
I'm Allie.
And I'm Elizabeth. And together, we're the band Betty. Oh, come on. You know what to do. When we say, "Hi, we're Betty," that's your cue to scream back at us, "Hello, Betty."
With a lot of enthusiasm.
And a lot of love. Ready? Okay, we believe in you. Here's your cue. "Hi, we're Betty."
We're so excited to be at the block party for the Ms. Foundation.
Just stride through the square, in tri-colored rags, fist in the air, hair your flag. Did you now? Did you now? Just rise in the street, rise in the street, face in the crowd, march to the beat, march to the beat. Did your faith make you proud? Is it time now to take cover? Is it time now to draw the blinds? Is it time now for bread and water? Too late, no sweet cakes, no wine. Gangway, grab your gang for the revolution. Take a stand for the revolution. When the people demand, gangway. Pauline and Claire drove a king from his lair. Just think that your dreams could rip holes in the air. Did you now? Did you now? Did you now? Did you now? Just wait for a sign. Wait for a sign. Hate to delay. Pray for a sign. Pray for a sign. Like Charlotte Corday. Is it time now? Take cover. Is it time now? Draw the blinds. Is it time now? For bread and water. Too late. No sweet cakes, no wine. Gangway. Grab your gang for the revolution. Take a stand for the revolution. When the people demand, gangway. Glory, glory, hallelujah, praise the fact. Outrageous rebellions start with everyday acts. On a bridge, on a bus, or under attack. Stronger together, we will never go back. Gangway, gangway. Grab your gang for the revolution. Take a stand for the revolution. When the people demand, gangway, gangway.
To the feminists of all ages joining Ms. Foundation's Block Party, make no mistake, Planned Parenthood is with you, and we will continue to expand our telehealth services to help reach women and girls across all communities. In this together, Alexis.
Latinas are not all the same. Many of them have different immigrant experiences, different stories, different generational experiences, different access to wealth and education. What unites us is wanting to have dignity, love of family, love of community. I was executive director for 8 years, but I've been at the organization for 13 years. Our work at the National Latina Institute is rooted in the real lives of our community. We work in New York, Washington, D.C., in Virginia, in Florida, and Texas.
In Texas, we've been building for over a decade in the Rio Grande Valley. And we're very much involved in coalitions of other progressive organizations, really helping to uplift the reproductive justice perspective and making sure that women and immigrant Latinas are not left out of the picture.
And we worked intricately and deeply with the Latina Institute, both in terms of documenting human rights abuses against Latina immigrants along the border, but also in suing the state of Texas for closing these clinics and ensuring that accessible, affordable access to reproductive health care was available to all women in Texas, but including and particularly low-income Latina women. And that was a case that actually went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
We had Latinas from across the state of Texas tell their stories about what it meant to have that clinic close. What kind of barriers did it present before them to have to travel 250 miles to get health care, have to sleep in their car because there's a waiting period, or scramble to find child care for the children they have in order to get the health care that they need. We documented those stories in an amicus brief, and we won that case. It was really an empowering moment for our community to know that in taking the risk of telling their stories, they actually affected powerful, powerful systemic change. One thing I'm most proud of being the executive director over the last 13 years was really taking the organization to its next level. The Miss Foundation has been so instrumental in our work. They were some of the early investors in the National Latina Institute.
She was so passionate about our mission. She built this team around her that allowed us to flourish, to take on immigration, abortion, contraception. She wants to ensure that this commitment that we've made as an organization to salud, justicia, and dignidad really bears out in all of the work that we do.
Jessica's a born leader, and Jessica likes to make leaders. She sees gifts in people, and she's able to say, I see something in you, and I want to be able to work with you, hold you, support you. What do we need to get you to this table?
She always believes that she can win and that she's on the right side of justice.
She really leads a movement of fight for justice with love. And I think that's really her vision, and she lives that out every day in the way she treats people, in the way she talks to people, in the way she talks about people, in the way she strategizes and thinks about how she wants to include others.
I want a world where all people can thrive. That despite your immigration status, despite your gender identity, despite who you love, despite how much money is in your pocket, where you live in this country, the language you speak, that you have an opportunity to live your full potential and be able to create families that you wish to create and raise those families with dignity. The work that we do really contributes to that vision. Seeing the community at the front lines of that is incredibly powerful.
On the morning of Valentine's Day 2018, Eva Chavez was detained by ICE while setting up a health fair in her yard in the Rio Grande Valley. Eva, a longtime activist with the National Latina Institute for Reproductive Justice, is an undocumented leader at the forefront of the fight for health, dignity, and justice. Panic set in after Eva's detainment as her 11-year-old son with special needs was left home without his parents, and our Texas Advocacy Network was left without one of its beloved hermanas en la lucha. The fight for reproductive justice is not simply the fight for the legal right to an abortion or birth control. The fight for reproductive justice is intersectional and interconnected. The fight for reproductive justice is deeply connected to the fight for immigration, racial justice, LGBTQIA liberation, criminal justice, and disability rights. I came to Latina Institute over 13 years ago because I had been an activist in so many siloed movements. Learning about the organization showed me that there was a place where all my identities could come together in a collective vision for social justice. Fast forward 13 years later to today, in this moment, and I reflect on my word of the year. Without knowing what this year entailed, or even the magnitude of the challenges that lay before us, I chose courage. Courage is the word that embodies my intention, my goals, and the essence of what will draw inspiration and guide my decisions. And in this year, I not only left my position as executive director at Latina Institute to run for political office, but have continued to work in my community and with my community organizations to aid those who are most in need during the COVID-19 outbreak in the city's epicenter, my neighborhood in Queens, New York. Why do I do it? Because every day women like me have the courage to risk their lives, to risk time away from their family and their children, like my 8-year-old son and my partner of 23 years. But I believe this risk is worth the reward of being a public servant and creating bold systemic change that can impact the lives of 19 million New Yorkers. That risk is what I think about when I am making the boldest of moves. I remind myself of my purpose, of my core values of salud, dignidad, y justicia. And when I'm required to dig deep inside me to draw from the wells of courage, I hold on to the words of Audre Lorde. She says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. I also hold the courage and the power of my fellow Latinx activists across the country. I carry them in my heart every day as a reminder of why I do this work, why the systems and structures that fail communities like mine every day must change. And every day I carry Eva Chavez with me,
who, after being released from ICE detention hours later on that Valentine's Day in 2018, went right back to organizing the next health fair because she says we must continue to move forward. So mujeres, let's move forward and let them hear us roar. Que siga la lucha.
Thank you all for joining us tonight at the Feminist Block Party. I hope that you all are ready to get up and dance because Madam Gandhi and DJ Spinderella are ready to take over for the night. But before I let you go and dance the night away, we need to get some work done. Tonight is about supporting the work of all the incredible women that you saw and heard tonight. So, you need to go and click that donate button so that we can ensure that they have the resources they need to get the work done on the ground and in their communities. So for those of you who have an ability to make a stretch gift of around $20,000 or $10,000 or $5,000, won't you make that stretch gift? And for those of you who are watching and your stretch gift is $50 or $20 or even $1, won't you make that stretch gift? Tonight is really an exciting evening for us because every gift you make is being matched up to $100,000. This movement, these movements, are not fueled by good intentions alone. Every dollar counts. Don't forget that it's you who is going to make this happen. So, before we go dancing, I want to make sure that you know this. We can make the world a better place. It's been an incredible evening. I don't ever want to forget it. Now, let's dance. Have a good night and thanks for joining us.
What does it mean to roar for women?
It means power,
disruption,
solidarity, support.
It means to fight.
Most importantly, it means standing with all women.
All women.
While we are all impacted by the current crisis,
women of color, especially Black and Indigenous women,
are experiencing devastatingly high health and economic impacts of the current COVID-19 pandemic,
shining a harsh light on racial bias and iniquity in our country.
In addition, women and girls of color face higher rates of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and limited access to maternal and reproductive health care,
placing their lives and livelihoods at constant risk.
It shouldn't take a national crisis to remind us that all people deserve to feel safe, secure, and have access to quality health care.
But there is hope, and it rests in the hands of the women that are most impacted.
Right now, women of color leaders around the country are organizing and leading
and encouraging and healing, inspiring and fighting to pull their communities through this crisis.
And they deserve our support.
Our support.
They deserve for us to roar with them.
So let's show up to make sure that all women and girls
can be safe, healthy, and secure.
Let's learn from this crisis and ensure that all women are in a better place moving forward.
Join me in making a commitment to give $20 for 2020
to support the work of feminist nonprofits and community organizations serving communities of color.
Text MS 2020 to 76278 or visit live.forwomen.org right now to give.
Let's all be safer, healthier, and more secure.
Will you roar?
Will you roar?
Will you roar? Will you roar?
Will you roar?
Will you roar? Roar!